All right, welcome to Milk and Honey Heritage Farms. We're gonna get some frames out of this hive to do a little extracting of the honey and take you along with us. So please like, subscribe, and share. All right, let's do this.
Go ahead.
All right, so we have this cover right here that we put on, and we've sprayed on some non-toxic, what is it called?
Essential oil spray.
It's like different essential oils, and you set it on top of the hive to help move the bees down in the boxes, so that way it's a little bit easier to get the frames out of honey, and we'll show you that. All right, that looks good. Do you want to have the privilege of getting them?
Sure.
So,
You just keep the smoker going.
yeah. So start on the outer edge, one of the outer edges. You gotta try and pry them up. The bees make a bee glue, which is called propolis, and that kind of sticks everything together and seals them for security and whatnot. They make it out of like tree bark and different things that they collect. Maybe I'll move this because we're just looking at the back of the over here. I can't really see through this.
Okay, are you ready?
Alright. Yeah.
Now you're gonna smoke
So we're
this.
gonna put the stuff in some totes. I'm gonna put a little smoke on this to hopefully get the rest of the bees off. It's dripping with honey.
Do you want to brush them in maybe?
Turn it around.
Yeah.
Turn it around. Try not to get smoke in your face either.
Got one right here.
You gotta lift it up a little bit higher here. Okay, turn it around.
Okay, there she is.
Oh, dripping. Got honey on there. Okay, what do we look like here? Looks like we're good. I don't see any bees on that side.
There's some on here.
Okay, I can't see because your head's in the way.
Are we trying to get them all off?
Well, the majority of them.
Okay.
Okay, turn it around. Gotta go kind of quickly so they don't go back on there. Okay, in the box. And then we'll put the lid on the box to... Uh-oh, we got
What's that?
a coal.
Oh. Okay, you gotta keep that straight up and down.
All right. My hands are kind of full with these two things. I'm eating hair. They're being pretty calm, really, so far.
This one doesn't have a lot on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, brush this side. They're gonna come back over, so you gotta get the majority off.
Keep an eye on this backside for me.
So you just... All right, so we pulled some frames. So right here what we have is a bucket. And once, okay, so here's the extractor. And it spins around inside. And I'll show you. You set the frames in here after you pick them with a pick. Anyways, you try to balance them out according to like the weight of each frame. And it spins and you go for so long and the honey will splatter off the frames and hit the sides of this, I don't know, I call it a vat extractor. And the honey will then run down to the bottom. And it's got this little lid here. When it's spinning, I can't really go in here, but we can probably see pretty good here. But anyways, then once you get most of the honey off of spinning it in one direction, then you stop it and you spin it around in the opposite direction to spin the honey off of the other side of each frame. And then it splatters on the side again and falls down to the bottom, getting wax and sometimes little bits of maybe wings and whatnot and stuff like that. So then there's this right here that you open up. You open that up and the honey will pour out of that. And then you only want to open it a little bit because you don't want too much flow coming out. Because what you're gonna do is we're gonna put the extractor up on blocks on the corners down here to raise this up a little bit higher, the spout. And then let me tighten that up because I don't want any honey coming out yet. Well, there's no honey in there yet, but anyways, so then we'll raise the extractor up on blocks so it's a little bit higher so we can then get this bucket underneath. And I've got these little mesh screens that it'll flow into. And the reason why you have the spout just a little bit opened is because you only want a little bit of honey coming out. You don't want to overflow the screening process because it takes a bit for it to screen through and run down into the bucket. Okay, so then once all that's done, which takes a little bit of time, then it's all in your bucket. And then I take the bucket inside and it's got another one of those valves that you can open up. And that is now clean honey, raw honey that I pour into the bottles to store. So that's that. And I will show you once we get everything going. All right, so out of the swarm boxes that we only got 2 frames of honey. And if you look down the bottom, it's already dripping. We had more, but there wasn't enough activity on it. Remember in past videos, if you haven't seen them, go back and watch. We caught some swarms, and a lot of times when you get swarms, like, expect to not get any honey. But if you do, that's great, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just spin these out, and that's kind of too early to harvest, so we're gonna keep checking back every week or two, and then see how the progress goes. We do have a few different boxes that have some frames that have honey on them, but we didn't want to pull just random, you know, a couple frames here and there. We just wanted to wait until they get it filled up. Oh, that'll make somebody dizzy. So this is what happens when you spin the honey off, and then can you stop it for a minute? And then if you can see, oh, I can open it because now we have it off. See? Hello! The honey goes up on the sides as it spins, and then it just drips down. You can see. And we used a pick to pick off with this pick. You pick off the caps, and then when you spin it, all the honey spins out into the vat extractor, and that's how that works. So now we are going to strain out. You only need to do the one side, I think. The honey is coming out of the extractor and getting filtered. Enjoy. So then as it goes through the two mesh screens that are different, what do you call that? Different gauges of mesh.
Yeah.
The first one's bigger to get the bigger bits of like wax, bee debris, whatnot, caught in that one. And then there's a second mesh that's finer underneath. And then what happens is, can you lift this up just a little bit? See if we can see. And then see how it just drips down in there into this bucket. And then once we're all done getting the stuff out of the extractor, strain through the strainers into this bucket. We'll bring it inside and store it. There it is. See, there's little bits of wax. But that won't be in the honey after it gets through the strainers. Gotta have some, right? So good. Okay, so we got the honey strained through this into their bucket. And here's the bucket. We only did a few frames for now. We're going to wait a little bit longer through the summer, which is normal. And so I'm going to take a little honey jar, and I'm going to get the honey out of the bucket and put it into the container. Can you see it? So you gotta be careful when you pour, especially when you get towards the top of whatever container you use to put the honey in, so you don't overflow. And just have another container on standby. I usually close the valve really quickly. So usually when you process honey and you have more frames of honey to process, you see that? It's like liquid gold. Anyways, I don't know what I was saying. Anyways, yeah, usually when you have more frames, you get way more honey. But we did it a little bit early this year because we were testing it out to see if the honey would, how much honey we would actually have if the bees were doing what they needed to do this time of year. But I think it was a little bit too early. We just had our blackberry flowers popping, and there's still a few flowers left, but mostly, you know, they're turning into berries now, so it's not quite over just quite yet. Usually we don't collect our honey until the end of August or mid-September, so it's not disappointing. And considering that 4 of the hives that I do have were swarms that I caught this year. And a lot of times swarms, which are bees that you catch or get on your property, they are working busily trying to build up, you know, their brood, which are their babies and stuff like that. Do you see that? I'm trying to show you in the light so you can see. It's like a nice clear. I don't know exactly what flavor my honey is. I have a lot of herbs like rosemary, thyme, mint, all kinds of mints, lots of lavender, fruit trees, vegetables. You know, they forage for a lot of stuff. There's a lot of clover and dandelion, just all kinds of a well-balanced, rounded variety of stuff in there that we grow on our farm. So I like it that way. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. I'll show you, actually I'll show you right now. I know it's getting, I put stuff in the sink so I can rinse it. So this is a frame, a honeybee frame that goes in one of the supers, which is the narrower box. This one is a newer one that hasn't quite been used. So I'm just going to show you because we used it to collect. So what you do is you scrape off. This is the stuff that you can scrape off the tops. Anyways, you let it dry out, and you can use it in tinctures and stuff like that. It's really healthy for you. This is just mostly wax, but I what you call is render down the wax. But the propolis, which is the darker stuff that you scrape off the sides of a frame, you can dehydrate it or just dry it out, Anyway, so I am collecting and saving that as we go through getting honey for the year. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new or enjoyed watching. And if you don't want to raise bees, please don't spray chemicals and grow lots of flowers. Thank you for joining me. Please like, share, and subscribe. This is Heather from Milk and Honey Heritage Farms. Have a good day.